Playing.
So, recently on Instagram, there have been memes going around showcasing these bizarre lashups that seem to be unrealistic and too bizarre to even be real. Then again, average pre-PSR bullshit if you catch my meaning. You know what? I'll hop on this bagwagon somewhat with one of my most bizarre lashups that I've ever seen during my time as a railfan. This wasn't something from 10 years ago. Believe me, you would have seen it in the archive. But this was actually a bit more recent-ish? Back in 2021. Anyways, let's get into tonight's program, shall we? Okay, so set the scene. This was on Christmas Eve of 2021, and I decided to make my usual venture out to one of my local rail lines, the CN Halton subdivision. So I decided to check out to see if there was anything good running that day. I had a previous track record of seeing good stuff on Christmas Eve, so was this going to be any different? So this location was on the outskirts of the Brampton Intermodal Terminal, which serves as the hub for a multitude of intermodal trains from the Canadian National, at the cost of the crossings being backlogged. I used to hang around that area quite a lot until I moved out, and this visit was no different. I decided to set up base at my spot next to the terminal's entrance along Goreway Avenue. It only took a few minutes of sitting around until something came out of the terminal's entrance, in the form of this power move. And this is the reason why you clicked on this video. Now, normally power moves around here consist of 2 to 3 engines usually, sometimes 4 or 5 if you're really pushing it. This power move went over the usual quota, and I'll let you count the locomotives. Yeah, this may not be as shocking considering that large power moves aren't unheard of, but these types of power moves down here are pretty rare. So after a few minutes, the power move reverses back onto a siding west of the crossing. Just as I thought the power move cleared, the crossings activated once again as another light power move showed up. And oh boy, this power wasn't lacking at all, consisting of 2 GP9RMs sandwiching a GP38-2, one of which was 7258, one of the 15th anniversary units. Now, this provided a good opportunity to see 7258 leading, right?
Right now, bro.
I do not even have to explain why I lost all hope here. The fact that an AC Gevo just so happened to be on that consist utterly crushed me, and I unfortunately had to watch as the AC slop led the yard power back in a bit. Okay, enough ranting about Gevos. So, if you remember from earlier, I showed this shot which had a few freight cars sitting in that third siding, which is where the power move went. I think you can put the pieces together. This 13-unit monster was hitching onto this short manifest, meaning this behemoth of locomotives was not just a power move anymore, but it was a full-on lash-up. And once they received permission onto the main, this is where the fun began. Now, granted, I should have gone for a wider shot for this because it would have been better to showcase the large lash-up. I know, I didn't utilize much of this location until later on in my rail fanning sessions, but I would say the photo I had of this was good enough. So there went the 13-unit lash-up, running the short distance of 8 or so miles back to Macmillan Yard. And afterwards, not much happened. I did get 2 trains, but one was a trail fail, another was AC slop, and that's about it. So that was probably the lash-up. Probably the most batshit, out-of-pocket consist I've ever seen during my 12 years of rail fanning. I've caught large lash-ups before and since this encounter, but nothing comes close to this behemoth of EMDs. And the 2 GEs because it's CX. I consider this lash-up and this catch as amongst my favorites for a few reasons. 1. 8 of the 13 units were 4-axles, one of which was leading the train. And when you consider the fact that most of these lash-ups that you normally see are made up of 6 axles, it's really something when a GP38's on the front, doesn't it? Number 2. I may have been the only rail fan that saw this lash-up in action. Considering that the 8-mile journey it would have had to make, and that anyone that was rail fanning that day was primarily out on Canadian Pacific, there would have been no one else that would have saw this. And no one that I ever knew ever saw this lash-up to begin with. So, yeah. I may have been the only one to witness this. And number 3. It's 13 locomotives on a fucking manifest! I've seen lash-ups consisting of 6 or more units before, and afterwards, but nothing larger than 13 locomotives. And keep in mind that all of them were apparently running, which made this all the more intriguing. I did catch a lash-up of a similar scope, but that's another story. Anyways, I had fun recounting this wild moment. Now, I'm gonna dip.
Merry Christmas,
Christmas, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care, folks.